Hello YouTube. Today we're going to talk about the drill press along with some drill press safety. So let's get to it. What is awesome about a drill press is that it can do so many functions for one machine. And again, what's nice is it's just a straight spindle that you can move up and down, and it can bore and do all the things. So real quick, what can it do? So it can drill holes. It can sand using a spindle sander. It can use a rotor rasp. It can use carving bits. It can use a hole saw. It can countersink. It can also use a Forstner bit to drill holes. And something I don't have on here is you actually can put an attachment for mortise and tenon. So you actually can mortise and tenon on a drill press. All right. So real quick, what I have set up right now, I'm just going to cover it real quick, is this is just my machinist vise. That's a quick clamp vise I have clamped down from the 1 hour build from last week. Other types of vices, doesn't have to be super complex. You can use a machinist vise, you can use a woodworking vices. There's even special ones that you can use to drill rounded stock on the center. Most of these are machinist bits, they're not woodworking clamps, but you can use machinist clamps for woodworking as well. Alright, I wouldn't do it the vice versa though, because if you're doing metal, right, and you drill precisely, I would use the machinist clamps because they're a lot more precise and they hold metal a lot better than the cheap wood clamps that go with your drill press. Alright, so where we're going to go is I'm going to go over the parts of the drill press, some quick setup features because there's not much you have to do on a drill press to get it ready to go, and then that's it. So let's get to it. So up top, we're going to work our way down. We have 2 variable speed pulleys driven by a belt. All right, the reason why we want to be able to change the pulleys on a drill press is depending on what material we're boring into or what other operation we're doing with it. So again, belt speed does matter based off material. I'm actually going to show right now on screen a quick speed chart on most operations done on a drill press. Some things you need to do for tuning is just make sure that your belt is properly tensioned so there's a good enough slack so as it spins it's not slopping around. You need to make sure that your pulleys are spinning nice and even. That also, you want to inspect pulleys for any types of damages that could rip up your belt. Ideally, you want to replace your belts with interlocking belts like the ones that were on the lathe, because those V-lock belts do give a little better performance and they don't wear as long. But again, if you need to get a new belt, I would go with that because most of the sizing on these older drill presses are kind of worn off. So again, easy fix. Working our way down, the next part, we have our depth gauge and our feed levers. All right, these do vary depending on what drill press you have. Some newer ones, the depth gauge lock will actually be in the feed lever arm right here. But I like the older ones where you can actually see the numbers. So you can actually set it so it stops at a certain depth and doesn't go beyond that. All right. Also over here, I do have a spindle locking feature, which should be standard on most drill presses. This allows you to pull off the chuck, or if you need to lock your drill press for cleaning parts or sanding, you can lock it a little farther down to fit your jigs better. All right. Coming down to the next part, which is the most important part, is the chuck. So the chuck holds our drill bits so that they spin in a counterclockwise direction. Hold on. So they spin. And this is always rotating in a counterclockwise fashion. The reason is, in drill anatomy, which I'm going to show a picture of this from a book, is the feeding is the cutting lip always is going to rotate in a counterclockwise direction, right? So that's going to come into some safety features a little later on. Moving down the machine, we have the column, the table, and the table lock. The last component is the on-off switch. Right here is the on-off switch on my Delta Milwaukee drill press, which is located on the side. Now I'm showing the on-off switch from my Craftsman. This allows me to turn on and off the machine. One more part to the chuck is most chucks have a key, so I'm going to cut away to a key. That allows me to tighten and loosen components within the 3-jaw chuck. So there are 3 jaws, so I'm going to show a picture right now. 3 jaws within the chuck. Now, when it comes to a 3-jaw chuck, or what they call a Jacobs chuck, so these are Jacobs chucks from Hartford, the old way. So again, if you have a Jacobs chuck, they only can accept cylinders or hexagon bits. If you try to cut a square bit, so I'm going to take a picture of this next drill bit. If you try to put square shaped bits or try to grind them to fit within the chuck, the drill will never run perfectly in line and your holes will never be straight. And number 2, you'll actually damage your chuck as well. All right? Now, working down on safety, safety is pretty easy on the drill press. All right? So obviously, the rule that we always follow is from the top of your middle finger to your elbow, there should be nothing, there should be no jewelry, no hair, nothing that can get caught in the spindle as it's operating. All right? Again, this can snag anything that's loose or hanging, so again, nothing in that area. Obviously, I'm not going to put my fingers anywhere near the drill bit while I'm doing any type of work, whether it be metal or wood. So again, if I want to hold down a piece, it is best to either put a clamp on the top, through, or on the sides to hold your work pieces, especially if you're drilling metal. Next, if it is a long piece of wood and you don't have a drill press fence or table, so again, where you can support your workpiece, you want to put it on the left side of the post. Reason being is, if it's a piece of metal or a piece of wood, and I put it on this side, and I snag it, it has all this space to rotate and catch me, the operator, before it stops on the other post. So instead, I want to put it against this post here to prevent it from spinning all the way around. All right? Next, when it comes to setting up the drill press, all right, there's a few things I'm going to cover real quick. So besides checking up top, making sure all the belts are okay, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the spindle is rotating with as little run out as possible. All right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this gauge, and I'm going to just manually turn. Let me just tighten this straight rod in there. All right? And if there is a lot of run out, right, then there's something wrong with your chuck. So you either need to replace your chuck or you need to inspect your spindle, which is the part that runs in and out in the drill itself. All right. Next, besides making sure that your drill is running true, you also need to make sure that it's running perpendicular. Now, this table can be tilted to any axis I need, right? So a few ways that you can actually test to make sure it's perfectly at 0 is you can use a protractor like this to make sure it's perfectly at 0, level, or you can use a laser level or a machinist square or a machinist combination square to set it at perfect 0. All right? This is important because if it's not set at perfectly 90, whatever you drill will never go straight in. Now, there are exceptions. You can actually pocket hole on a drill press. You have to just set it up at the angle a pocket hole goes. You can pilot hole, countersink, and then use that hole to basically pocket hole onto your project. Again, just to go into a little bit of quality things, not all drill presses are made the same, nor are they the same quality. This Milwaukee Delta drill press is a little better quality than the Craftsman I did most of my demonstrations at, It's got a better Jacobs chuck in it, which can accept larger drill bits. It's better aligned, so the run out on the drill is a lot smaller than the Craftsman, and there are a lot more features to it that lend itself to precision drilling that I use for metal work, or if I really need to drill a hole at a specific measurement, this is the drill I'll use the most. But again, there are normally go with the older drill presses. As long as they are tuned correctly, you're going to get a good quality drill every single time and a product that'll last. With that said, that covers all of the drill press parts. So I wanted to thank everyone for watching this video on YouTube, and I hope that everyone's staying safe during this quarantine time, and I hope you can have a great week. Bye.